The combined fleet that emerged from hyperspace around Earth was the largest military force in galactic history. 2 million ships from the Catherian Empire and Draconic hegemony surrounded the small blue planet, their weapons trained on the surface. Admiral Veltar and War Council leader Noxian commanded from their respective flagships, old enemies working together against their greatest fear. Scans confirm it, Veltar reported to Noxian over the communication link. One human dreadnought is active on the surface. Energy signatures match historical records. Just one ship? Noxian seemed almost disappointed. After all these years of preparation, they only managed to activate one vessel? But both commanders remembered the lessons of history. One human ship had once destroyed fleets of 10,000 vessels. They were taking no chances. On Earth, in the command center of the Eternal Dawn, Tejo watched the enemy fleet surrounding his world. Through his enhanced awareness, he could sense the fear and determination of the alien commanders. They genuinely believed they were saving the galaxy from human aggression. 2 million ships, Sora whispered, staring at the tactical display. Even with all our technology, how can we fight so many? We do not fight them, Tejo replied calmly. We talk to them. Professor Lee looked worried. They did not come here to negotiate. They came here to destroy Earth before we can rebuild our fleet. Then we change their minds, Tejo said. He turned to Aegis. Open a channel to every ship in both fleets. I want every crew member to hear this. Aegis hesitated. Admiral, they will likely fire immediately upon receiving any transmission from Earth. Not if we give them something they cannot ignore, Tejo replied. Broadcast the true historical records along with my message. Show them what really happened 500 years ago. The holographic displays around the command center came alive with activity. Aegis was preparing to transmit terabytes of data to millions of alien ships simultaneously. Channel open. Admiral, Aegis announced. Tejo took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his ancestors' memories and the hopes of his entire species. This is Admiral Tejo Kim of the Terran vessel Eternal Dawn. To all ships of the Catherian Empire and Draconic hegemony, I offer you greetings and a choice. The transmission went out across space, reaching every vessel in the massive fleet. Along with Tejo's words, Aegis sent the complete historical archives of human-alien relations, showing the truth that had been hidden for 5 centuries. You have come here expecting to find conquerors preparing for war, Tejo continued. You will find instead the descendants of those who chose peace over victory, who sacrificed their empire to protect innocent lives throughout the galaxy. On the Catherian flagship, Admiral Veltar watched in growing amazement as the historical records played on his screens. These were not the human military records his empire possessed. These were complete diplomatic archives, showing human peacekeeping missions, medical aid programs, and terraforming projects that had helped dozens of species. This cannot be accurate, Veltar muttered, but his tactical computers confirmed the authenticity of the data. On the Hegemony command ship, War Council leader Noxian was experiencing the same shock. The records showed human ships arriving at worlds under attack, not to conquer but to protect. Human Marines evacuating civilians while human diplomats negotiated ceasefires. 500 years ago, my ancestor made the most difficult decision in human history. Tejo's voice continued. Rather than fight a war that would destroy countless innocent lives, he chose to retreat. Humanity gave up its place among the stars to prevent a galactic genocide. The historical records showed the final meeting of the human high command. Admiral Tejo Kim I arguing against other human leaders who wanted to fight to the end. His decision to order the Great Retreat to save alien lives, even enemy lives. You have spent 5 centuries telling yourselves that you defeated humanity through superior strategy and courage, Tejo said. The truth is that humanity chose to lose rather than watch the galaxy burn. Throughout both fleets, alien crew members were watching the same records. Many were seeing images of human medical ships treating their ancestors' wounds. Human engineers helping rebuild their worlds after natural disasters. Human diplomats negotiating treaties that had prevented countless wars. But now the galaxy is in danger again, Tejo continued. My sensors detect massive military buildups, preparation for new wars of conquest. Weaker species will suffer under imperial rule, just as they did before humans arrived to protect them. Admiral Veltar felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Doubt. The human archives showed his own ancestors working alongside human peacekeepers, to stop a plague that had threatened to wipe out the Catherian species. Human medical technology had saved billions of Catherian lives. The question before you now is the same question my ancestor faced, Tejo said. Will you choose cooperation or conflict? Will you help build a galaxy where all species can thrive? Or will you repeat the mistakes that led to centuries of war and suffering? On dozens of ships throughout both fleets, younger officers were questioning their commanders. The historical records contradicted everything they had been taught about human aggression and imperial ambitions. To prove our peaceful intentions, I offer you something no conqueror would give, Tejo announced. Complete access to human enhancement technology, defensive systems, and medical advances. Any species willing to join a new alliance for galactic peace will receive the same protection and benefits that humanity once provided. War Council leader Noxian could hardly believe what he was hearing. The humans were offering to share their most advanced technology freely, just as the historical records showed they had done in the past. However, Tejo's voice became firm. Any species that chooses to continue down the path of conquest and oppression will find that humanity remembers how to defend the innocent. We are no longer the empire we once were, but we remain what we have always been, protectors of those who cannot protect themselves. As if to demonstrate, the Eternal Dawn systems came online. Energy signatures that had not been seen for 500 years blazed across every scanner in the alien fleet. The ship's shields activated, creating a barrier that could protect the entire planet. Manufacturing bays began producing defensive satellites at impossible speed. You have 1 hour to decide, Tejo concluded. Choose wisely, the transmission ended, leaving 2 million alien crew members staring at historical records that challenged everything they believed about humanity. On the Catherian flagship, Admiral Veltar received reports from his subordinates. Young officers were requesting permission to study the human archives more carefully. Some were asking why their own historical records had omitted so much information about human peacekeeping activities. Admiral, his communications officer reported, we are receiving requests from 17 species for direct negotiations with the humans. They want to join the proposed alliance. Similar reports were coming to War Council leader Noxian. Entire fleets were standing down, refusing to attack Earth until they could verify the historical information. But not everyone was convinced. Hardline factions in both empires argued that the records were elaborate human deceptions. Several battle groups maintained their attack positions, ready to fire on Earth despite the evidence. In the Eternal Dawn's command center, Tejo watched the fleet reactions through the ship's sensors. His enhanced mind processed thousands of variables simultaneously, calculating probability matrices for different outcomes. About 30% of their forces are standing down, Aegis reported. Another 40% are requesting time to verify the historical data. The remaining 30% are maintaining attack postures. That is better than I hoped, Tejo admitted, but still not good enough. A new transmission came from Admiral Veltar's flagship. Human vessel, this is Admiral Veltar of the Catherian Empire. Your historical records are disturbing. If they are accurate, my people owe humanity a great debt. But how do we know this is not an elaborate deception? Tejo smiled. Admiral Veltar, your own ancestors worked with my ancestor to save your homeworld from the Red Plague. Check your genetic archives. Your family line exists because human medical technology cured your great-grandmother when she was dying as a child. There was a long pause. Then Veltar's voice returned, sounding shaken. How could you know that? Because Admiral Tejo Kim I personally delivered the cure to your homeworld, Tejo replied. He considered every life saved a victory worth more than any military conquest. More ships began standing down. The truth was spreading through both fleets as crew members verified the human archives against their own historical records. But the hardline factions were not convinced. Several battle groups began moving toward Earth, their weapons charging for planetary bombardment. Admiral, Wubin reported, hostile forces are approaching firing range. They intend to destroy Earth regardless of the evidence. Tejo felt his ancestors' tactical knowledge flow through his enhanced mind. Sometimes even peacekeepers had to fight to protect the innocent. Aegis, activate the Phoenix Protocol, he ordered. It is time to show them what they have been afraid of for 500 years. The enhancement process had changed Tejo more than he realized. As Aegis unlocked deeper levels of the ship's historical archives, Genetic memories began flowing into his mind. These were not just records. They were actual experiences passed down through his family's DNA. He could see through his ancestors' eyes as Admiral Tae-ho Kim I stood on the bridge of this very ship, making decisions that affected billions of lives across the galaxy. The weight of those memories was almost overwhelming. The original Admiral Kim was not just a military commander, Aegis explained as holographic records played around them. He was a philosopher who believed that strength should be used to protect the weak, not to dominate them. The displays showed human fleets arriving at worlds under attack. Instead of conquering the planets, human ships would position themselves between warring factions and force negotiations. Human marines would evacuate civilians while human diplomats worked to find peaceful solutions. "Look at this," Professor Lee said, studying one particular record, the Siege of Orton Prime. Two species had been fighting over this planet for decades. When humans arrived, they did not choose a side. Instead, they helped both species find a way to share the world. Sora watched records of human medical ships treating wounded from all sides of various conflicts. They really were peacekeepers, not conquerors. Humanity's greatest strength was not their technology, Aegis said. It was their ability to see solutions that others could not imagine. While other species thought in terms of victory and defeat, humans thought in terms of cooperation and mutual benefit. Tae-ho felt another wave of genetic memories. He saw his ancestor working late into the night, not planning battles but studying the cultures and needs of different alien species. The Admiral had believed that understanding was the key to lasting peace. "Show them the healer protocols," Tae-ho said, surprised that he knew about something he had never learned. Aegis displayed records of human medical technology being freely shared with other species. Human doctors worked alongside alien healers to cure diseases that had plagued entire civilizations. Human terraforming technology helped create new worlds for refugees and displaced populations. Humans could have kept their advanced technology secret, Aegis explained. Instead, they shared everything that could help other species, while keeping only defensive military technology restricted. Hyejin studied communication records. These negotiation transcripts are amazing. Human diplomats seem to understand alien psychology better than the aliens understood themselves. Enhanced humans had improved pattern recognition and emotional intelligence, Aegis said. They could see cultural patterns and predict social behaviors with remarkable accuracy. This made them excellent mediators. Wubin was more interested in the military records. What made human soldiers so effective? I have read battle reports where single human squads defeated armies. Aegis showed them combat footage. Human marines moved with impossible speed and coordination. They seemed to anticipate enemy attacks before they happened. Even when outnumbered 100 to 1, they found ways to win while minimizing casualties on both sides. Enhanced reflexes and tactical processing, Aegis explained. But more importantly, human soldiers were trained to think creatively. While enemy forces followed rigid tactical doctrines, humans adapted constantly. They turned disadvantages into advantages. The enhancement serums did not just improve physical abilities, Aegis continued. They enhanced imagination, empathy, and problem-solving skills. Enhanced humans could understand their enemies well enough to predict their actions, but also well enough to find non-violent solutions when possible. Tae-ho experienced another genetic memory. His ancestor standing before the Galactic Council, representing not just humanity, but dozens of other species in complex negotiations. The Admiral had somehow convinced ancient enemies to work together for their mutual benefit. Why did the other species turn against us? Sora asked. If humans were helping everyone, why did they unite to drive us away? Aegis paused before answering. Fear. Humanity was becoming too influential. Other species began to worry that humans would eventually control everything, even if that was never humanity's intention. The displays showed propaganda from the Catherian Empire and Draconic hegemony. Images of human ships were presented as invasion fleets. Human peacekeeping missions were described as conquest operations. Human medical aid was portrayed as attempts to make other species dependent on human technology. The truth did not matter, Aegis said sadly. Fear is often stronger than facts. The empires convinced many species that humanity was a threat that had to be stopped before it became too powerful. Professor Lee studied the propaganda records. This is sophisticated psychological warfare, They turned humanity's greatest strengths into perceived weaknesses. Human willingness to help was portrayed as manipulation, Aegis explained. Human military effectiveness was presented as evidence of aggressive intentions. Human diplomatic success was described as cunning deception. Taeho felt his ancestors' pain through the genetic memories. Admiral Kim had genuinely wanted to help other species, but his very success in doing so had made them afraid of him. What was the final decision? Taeho asked, though part of him already knew the answer. Aegis showed them the last meeting of the human high command. Admiral Taeho Kim I arguing passionately with other human leaders. Some wanted to fight to the end. Others proposed revealing even more advanced technology to prove human peaceful intentions. The Admiral made the most difficult choice possible, Aegis said. He ordered all human forces to retreat to Earth and hide all evidence of human technological advancement. He chose to let the galaxy think humanity was defeated, rather than fight a war that would destroy billions of innocent lives. The last message from Admiral Kim played in the room. His voice was tired but determined. We retreat not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to choose peace over victory. When the galaxy is ready to accept help without fear, our children will return to the stars. He knew this day would come, Taeho realized. He knew that eventually the galaxy would need human protection again. The Admiral believed that conflict was inevitable without mediators, Aegis confirmed. He hoped that 500 years would be enough time for other species to learn the value of cooperation. Heejin had been monitoring communications. The scout ships are getting closer. They will be within scanning range in 6 hours. Wubin studied the tactical displays. What happens when they detect this ship? They will send an immediate message to their fleets, Aegis said. Both empires will mobilize everything they have to destroy Earth before humans can rebuild their forces. Taeho felt the weight of his genetic heritage pressing down on him. His ancestor had sacrificed everything to protect innocent species from a devastating war. Now it was his turn to make difficult choices. Aegis, what would happen if we simply talked to them? If we explained that we want peace, not war? Based on their current military buildup and recent communications, they would not believe you, Aegis replied. 500 years of propaganda has convinced them that humans are deceptive conquerors who will say anything to gain an advantage. Then we have to show them, Taeho decided. We cannot let them destroy Earth based on fear and lies, but we also cannot let them hurt innocent people throughout the galaxy. He felt his ancestors' tactical knowledge flowing through his enhanced mind. Suddenly, he could see a solution that balanced all the competing needs. Aegis, can this ship broadcast on all frequencies simultaneously? Can we send a message that every ship in their fleets will receive? Yes, Admiral. The communication array can reach every vessel in both empires simultaneously. Then we give them a choice, Taeho said. The same choice my ancestor offered 500 years ago. We show them the truth and let them decide whether they want peace or war. And if they choose war? Wubin asked. Taeho looked at his reflection in the ship's polished surfaces. His enhanced features made him look more like his ancestor than ever before. Then we remind them why they were afraid of us in the first place. Professor Dongmin Lee arrived at the dig site 3 days after the ship had awakened. He brought with him a small team, including Hae-Jin Choi, a communications expert, and several graduate students. They all stood in amazement at the massive vessel that now rose from the desert like a metal mountain. This changes everything we know about human history, Professor Lee said, walking around the ship's base. If this is real, then every textbook about our past is wrong. Taeho met them at the main entrance that Aegis had opened. The doorway was large enough for 10 people to walk through side by side. Inside, the ship was even more impressive than outside. The walls glowed with soft blue light, and the corridors were wide and clean. Aegis has been showing us the real history, Taeho explained as he led them deeper into the ship. Humans were not always stuck on Earth. We had a great empire among the stars. They entered a large room filled with floating displays showing star maps and historical records. Aegis appeared as a hologram in the center of the room. Welcome, Professor Lee, Aegis said. Your arrival is fortuitous. I have much to show you about humanity's true heritage. The displays around them came alive with images and data. They showed human ships traveling between stars, meeting with strange alien beings and building great cities on distant worlds. Humanity controlled 300 star systems, Aegis explained. The Terran Federation was the largest peaceful alliance in galactic history. Humans served as peacekeepers, mediators, and protectors for over 50 different species. Hyojin stared at images of humans in advanced armor, standing alongside aliens with multiple arms, others with scales instead of skin, and beings made of pure energy. These aliens really existed? They still exist, Aegis replied, but without human protection. Many species have suffered under the rule of the Catherian Empire and the Draconic hegemony. Wars that humans once prevented have destroyed entire civilizations. Professor Lee studied the historical data carefully. Show me the technology. If humans were this advanced, where are the machines? Where are the weapons? Aegis led them to another section of the ship. The walls opened to reveal massive manufacturing bays filled with strange equipment. Robotic arms moved in complex patterns, and 3D printers the size of buildings hummed with activity. This ship contains full manufacturing capabilities, Aegis said. It can produce everything from basic tools to advanced starships. It can create weapons, medical equipment, communication devices, and enhancement serums. Enhancement serums? Sora asked. Human soldiers and officers used biological enhancements to improve their abilities, Aegis explained. Enhanced humans could survive in space without suits, resist most toxins and diseases, and heal from injuries that would kill normal people. They also had improved reflexes and tactical thinking abilities. The manufacturing bay showed them a demonstration. Robotic systems quickly built a small drone from raw materials. The drone activated and flew around the room, following complex flight patterns. How long would this take human factories to build? Aegis asked. Months, Professor Lee answered. I built it in 3 minutes, Aegis said. Wubin Nam, a veteran of Earth's defense forces, had been quiet during most of the tour. Now he spoke up. This is all very impressive, but can it actually fight? If these aliens are as dangerous as you say, we need to know this ship can protect Earth. Aegis seemed pleased by the question. Would you like a demonstration, Colonel Nam? Wubin had not told anyone his military rank. He looked surprised. How did you know I was a colonel? Military bearing service scars and genetic markers indicating career military service, Aegis replied. Also, your security clearance is in Earth Defense Force databases, which I accessed when you entered the ship. The room around them changed. The walls became transparent, showing space around them. Suddenly, they were surrounded by what looked like thousands of enemy ships. This is a simulation of the Battle of Kepler Station, Aegis said. 10,000 Catherian ships against one human dreadnought. Watch. The battle played out around them. The enemy ships moved in perfect formations, firing bright energy beams. The single human ship seemed tiny compared to the massive alien fleet. But then the human ship did something impossible. It seemed to fade away, becoming transparent. The alien weapons passed right through it. A moment later, the human ship became solid again, but in a completely different position. Phase technology, Aegis explained. Human ships could shift between dimensions, making them impossible to target effectively. The human ship moved through the enemy fleet like a ghost, appearing and disappearing. Its weapons were not like the alien energy beams. Instead, they fired strange projectiles that seemed to think for themselves, changing direction to hit their targets. Smart munitions with quantum guidance systems, Aegis said. They cannot miss. In minutes, the entire enemy fleet was destroyed while the human ship remained undamaged. Wubin stared at the simulation. One ship did that? One ship destroyed 10,000 enemies? This was considered a minor engagement, Aegis replied. During the Great War, Admiral Taeho Kim I once defeated a fleet of 50,000 ships with only 12 human vessels. The simulation ended, and the room returned to normal. Everyone was quiet for a moment. If humans were this powerful, why did we lose the war? Hyojin asked. Aegis showed them new images, battles across hundreds of star systems, planets burning, entire species being wiped out. The enemy could not defeat human ships in fair combat, so they changed tactics. They began attacking civilian populations. For every human ship destroyed, they would destroy an entire planet of innocent people. Humanity faced a terrible choice, Aegis continued. Continue fighting and watch the galaxy burn, or retreat and let the enemy think they had won. Admiral Taeho Kim I chose to save the galaxy by appearing to surrender. Professor Lee nodded slowly. So the Great Retreat was not a defeat. It was a sacrifice, correct. All human forces returned to Earth. All advanced technology was hidden or destroyed. Humanity chose to appear primitive to stop the genocide of innocent species. Tejo had been listening quietly. Now he spoke up. Aegis, why did you wake up now? What has changed? The AI's hologram looked serious. My long-range sensors have detected massive military buildups throughout the galaxy. The Catherian Empire and Draconic Hegemony are preparing for new wars of conquest. Without human protection, weaker species will be enslaved or destroyed. Also, Aegis continued, I have detected scout ships entering this solar system. The enemy knows something has awakened on Earth. They are coming to investigate. Wu Bin stepped forward. How long do we have? Based on their current speed, advanced scouts will reach Earth orbit in 72 hours. The main fleet will arrive within 2 weeks. Sora looked worried. Can this one ship fight an entire fleet? The Eternal Dawn is powerful, but it was designed to work with other ships, Aegis replied. However, it can manufacture additional vessels if given time and proper command authorization. Everyone looked at Tejo. He could feel the weight of their expectations. What do you need me to do? He asked. First, you must undergo genetic enhancement to access the ship's full command capabilities, Aegis said. Only enhanced humans can properly interface with our tactical systems. Is it dangerous? Sora asked. There is some risk, Aegis admitted. But without enhancement, Admiral Kim cannot access the command protocols needed to operate this ship at full capacity. Tejo thought about everything he had learned. His entire understanding of human history had changed in just 3 days. Now he was being asked to become something more than human to protect not just Earth, but potentially the entire galaxy. Professor, if I do this, I need you to contact Earth's governments, he said. They need to know what is coming. And if they do not believe us? Professor Lee asked. Then we protect Earth ourselves, Tejo replied. He turned to Aegis. Begin the enhancement process. Admiral Veltar was reviewing routine patrol reports when the alert signal reached the Catherian Empire's capital world. The signal made him freeze in terror. He had not heard that particular frequency in over 500 years, but he knew exactly what it meant. Human ships were awake. Veltar rushed to the Imperial archives, his clawed feet clicking on the metal floors. Ancient fear protocols, unused for centuries, automatically activated throughout the Empire's military networks. Every Catherian commander, older than 400 years, would recognize that signal. Computer, access archive file Omega-7, Veltar commanded. Authorization, Fleet Admiral Veltar, Prime Command. The holographic display showed images that still gave him nightmares. Human ships appearing from nowhere, phasing through solid matter like ghosts. Human marines who seemed impossible to kill, fighting on even after taking wounds that would destroy any other species. Human tactical computers that predicted enemy movements with supernatural accuracy. Status of human beacon signal, Veltar demanded. Signal originated from Sol system. Sector 7G duration, 17 minutes 43 seconds. Signal strength indicates major military vessel activation. Veltar's worst fears were confirmed. The humans had not simply vanished 500 years ago. They had been waiting. On the other side of the galaxy, War Council leader Noxian of the Draconic Hegemony was having the same horrifying realization. The Hegemony's war rooms filled with military leaders who remembered the old stories. How many ships? Noxian asked, his reptilian voice shaking. Unknown war leader. The signal indicates at least one major vessel, possibly a dreadnought class or larger. Noxian studied the tactical displays. The last time humans had activated their ships, it had taken the combined might of both empires and 15 allied species to drive them back to their home system. Even then, the humans had not been truly defeated. They had simply left. Send immediate orders to all fleet commanders, Noxian said. Begin full mobilization. Contact the Catherian Empire. If the humans are returning, we must stand together again. Back on Earth, Aegis was explaining the ship's true capabilities to the growing human crew. Tejo had completed the enhancement process and could now interface directly with the ship's systems. The knowledge flowing into his mind was overwhelming. Through the ship's neural link, he could see technical specifications for weapons that could destroy entire fleets, shields that could protect whole planets, and manufacturing systems that could build a new ship every few hours. But the most impressive technology was not about destruction at all. The medical bay can extend human life to over 300 years, Aegis explained. The enhancement serums do not just improve physical abilities. They also increase mental processing speed and memory capacity. Enhanced humans can think faster and more clearly than baseline humans. Sora watched Tejo as he learned to use his new abilities. His movements were more precise now, and his eyes seemed to focus on multiple things at once. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Different," Tejo replied. "I can see patterns now that I never noticed before. I understand things about strategy and tactics that I never learned. It is like having someone else's memories mixed with my own." Aegis showed them the ship's weapon systems, energy cannons that could punch through any known armor, missile systems with warheads that could crack continents. But Tejo noticed something interesting about the weapon designs. "These are all defensive weapons," he said. "They are designed to disable enemy ships, not destroy them completely." "Correct," Aegis replied. "Human military doctrine always prioritized preservation of life, even enemy life. The goal was to stop aggression, not commit genocide." Professor Lee studied the historical records. "Aegis, you said the enemy is mobilizing. How do you know this?" "Long-range sensors throughout the galaxy have detected massive fleet movements," Aegis explained. "Both the Catherian Empire and the Draconic Hegemony are assembling their largest military forces in 500 years. They are afraid." Heejin worked at the communications station. "I am picking up encrypted transmissions between both empires. They are coordinating their response." "Can you decode them?" Tejo asked. "Already done," Aegis replied. "They are planning a joint operation to investigate the Sol system. Advanced scouts are already en route." On the ship's main display, they could see the approaching alien vessels. 3 small ships moving at high speed toward Earth. "Those are Catherian stealth scouts," Aegis identified. "They will arrive in 18 hours. Wubin studied the approaching ships. "What are they looking for?" "Confirmation that humanity is becoming active again," Aegis said. "If they confirm human ships are operational, both empires will send their full military might to destroy Earth before humans can rebuild their fleet." Tejo felt the weight of command settling on his shoulders. Through his enhanced awareness, he could sense the ship's massive power at his disposal, but he also understood the terrible responsibility that came with it. "How many ships are in their combined fleets?" he asked. "Approximately 2 million vessels," Aegis replied calmly. Everyone stared at the AI. 2 million? Sora whispered. "The empires have been building their militaries for 500 years, Aegis explained. "They learned from their previous war with humanity. They will not make the same mistake of underestimating human capabilities." "Can one ship fight 2 million? Professor Lee asked. "The Eternal Dawn is powerful, but those odds would be challenging even for a fully enhanced crew," Aegis admitted. "However, the ship can manufacture additional vessels. Given sufficient time, we could build a fleet capable of defending Earth." "How much time?" Tejo asked. "To build enough ships to match their numbers would require approximately 6 months of continuous production." Wubin shook his head. "We do not have 6 months. We have maybe 2 weeks before their main fleet arrives." Tejo studied the tactical displays, his enhanced mind processing possibilities at superhuman speed. "Aegis, what happened to the other hidden ships? Are there more vessels like this one?" "Unknown. The Eternal Dawn was one of 12 ships hidden in various locations around Earth. I have been unable to contact the others." "Where are they hidden?" Aegis showed locations around the globe. Ships buried under ice in Antarctica, hidden in ocean trenches, concealed in mountain ranges. All vessels were programmed to remain dormant until activated by proper command genetics. "Then we wake them up," Tejo decided. "If the enemy wants to see human ships again, we will show them what they have been afraid of for 500 years. But even as he made the decision, Tejo wondered if humanity was ready for what was coming. Earth's governments did not even know their true history. Most humans had no idea they were descended from a species that once protected the galaxy. Through the ship's sensors, he could feel the approaching scout ships getting closer. Soon, the enemy would know for certain that humanity was no longer hiding. The question was, would Earth be ready for the storm that was coming? As if reading his thoughts, Aegis spoke quietly. Admiral, there is something else you should know. The scout ships are not just here to observe. They carry planet-killer weapons. If they confirm human ships are active, they have orders to destroy Earth immediately. Tejo felt cold despite his enhancements. Then we make sure they do not get the chance to report back. The hunt was about to begin. The hot desert sun beat down on Tejo Kim as he brushed sand away from the strange metal object. He had been digging in the Gobi Desert for 3 weeks now, looking for old things buried in the sand. Most archaeologists thought he was crazy to dig so far from any known ruins, but his equipment kept showing something big was down there. Tejo, this metal is not like anything I have seen before, said Sora Park, his research partner. She was a former military engineer, who now helped him study old technology. Her scanner made strange beeping sounds as she moved it over the surface they had uncovered. The metal was smooth and dark blue, almost black. It did not look rusty or damaged even though it had been buried for who knows how long. As they dug more, they realized this was not just a piece of metal. It was huge, stretching far in all directions under the sand. Sora, I think we found a ship, Tejo said, wiping sweat from his face. But what kind of ship gets buried this deep in a desert? They had been digging for hours when Tejo's shovel hit something that looked different. It was a small panel with strange markings on it. In the center was a shape that looked like it was made for a human hand. This looks like a palm scanner, Sora said, frowning. But that is impossible. This thing has been buried for hundreds of years. Palm scanners are new technology. Tejo stared at the panel. Something about it felt familiar, like he had seen it before in a dream. Without thinking, he placed his hand on the scanner. The moment his palm touched the surface, everything changed. Blue light shot out from the panel, spreading across the buried metal like lightning. The ground began to shake. Sand started falling away from the massive object beneath them as if invisible hands were brushing it clean. Tejo, what did you do? Sora shouted over the noise. Before he could answer, a voice spoke. It was clear and calm, speaking perfect Korean, but the voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Identity confirmed. Welcome back, Admiral. It has been 512 years, 7 months, and 16 days since last contact. Both Tejo and Sora stumbled backward. A blue hologram appeared in front of them, showing the shape of a human figure. I am Aegis, Ancient Earth Guardian Intelligence System. I have been waiting for your return, Admiral Kim. There must be some mistake, Tejo said, his voice shaking. I am not an admiral. I am just an archaeologist. My name is Tejo Kim, but I am not whoever you think I am. The hologram turned to look at him directly. Genetic scan confirms identity. You are the descendant of Admiral Tejo Kim I, commander of the Terran Golden Fleet. Your genetic markers match the command protocols. This vessel recognizes your authority. More lights began to activate around them. The sand was now falling away quickly, showing the true size of what they had found. It was not just a ship. It was massive, easily the size of a city. The hull was smooth and beautiful, made of the same dark blue metal. Strange markings and symbols covered its surface. This is the flagship Eternal Dawn, Aegis continued. Flagship of the Golden Fleet, last seen during the Great Retreat 500 years ago. Sora grabbed Tejo's arm. This is impossible. Humans have never had ships like this. We have never been able to travel between stars with anything this advanced. Aegis seemed to pause as if thinking. You are incorrect. Humanity once controlled 300 star systems and maintained peaceful relations with 50 different alien species. Earth was the center of a great alliance that kept peace across the galaxy. You are wrong, Tejo said. Humans have never left Earth. We have always been alone on this planet. Negative, Aegis replied. Human space forces were the most advanced in the galaxy. Your people were known as the Protectors. They stopped wars, saved planets, and kept the peace among all species. The hologram changed, showing images of great ships flying between stars. Human soldiers in advanced armor stood alongside strange alien beings. Cities floated in space and planets showed signs of great technology. If this is true, what happened? Sora asked. Where did it all go? Aegis showed new images. Massive battles in space. Thousands of ships fighting. Explosions that lit up entire solar systems. The Great War began when the Catherian Empire and the Draconic Hegemony joined forces against humanity. They feared human power and influence. Though humans fought bravely, we were outnumbered 1,000 to 1. The human leaders made a difficult choice. Aegis continued. Rather than fight to the last person and destroy the galaxy in the process, they chose the Great Retreat. All human forces pulled back to Earth. All technology was hidden or destroyed. Humanity chose to seem weak rather than bring destruction to everyone. Tejo felt dizzy. So we chose to forget? We chose to seem primitive? It was the only way to stop the war. The enemy would have destroyed every planet to defeat humanity. Your ancestor, Admiral Tejo Kim I, ordered all ships to return to Earth and hide. Only a few ships like this one were kept hidden, waiting for the day humanity would need them again. The ship continued to clean itself. Advanced systems were coming online. Tejo could hear the hum of powerful engines deep below. Lights were appearing all over the hull. Why now? Tejo asked. Why wake up after 500 years? The galaxy is in danger again, Aegis said. My sensors detect massive military buildups. The same empires that drove humanity home are preparing for new wars. Innocent species will suffer. The galaxy needs its protectors again. Sora looked at the readings on her scanner. Tejo, this ship is more advanced than anything humans have today. If what this AI says is true, we once had technology that could change everything. The Eternal Dawn contains manufacturing systems that can build new ships and equipment, Aegis said. It contains medical technology that can extend human life and enhance human abilities. It contains weapons that can protect entire planets and communication systems that can reach across the galaxy instantly. Tejo stared at the massive ship rising from the desert sand. His whole life he had studied the past, looking for answers about where humans came from. Now he was learning that the past was nothing like what anyone had taught him. What do you need from me? He asked. The ship responds only to command genetics, Aegis explained. Only descendants of the original fleet commanders can access full systems. You must choose, Admiral. Will you take command and help humanity reclaim its place among the stars? Or will you let the galaxy fall into chaos while Earth remains hidden? The ship was now fully clear of sand, standing tall in the desert like a great blue mountain. Its surfaces sparkled in the sunlight. Tejo could feel power humming through the air around him. He looked at Sora, who nodded slowly. Then he looked back at Aegis. Show me everything, he said.